Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Let me know if you can hear me. Hello, X-Hot Dog Machine. Hello, Shadowland 2780. Crit Witch, what's up? I see everyone's going with the emoji. What are those called? Forget. They're not emojis. They're like, it's a special Twitch thing. So, KR Stucks, hello. How are you? Reese Batten, welcome back. Yo, Hefter73, great to see you. It's been a while, I think. I don't know. You might have been here last week. Emotes. That's it. I got good news. Reese Batten, you got good news. I got the job. That's awesome. That's a great way to start, Reese Batten. That is a fantastic way to start today. Awesome. So a couple questions. So for everyone, if you're new here, welcome. Hi. Oh, we get to ring the bell. So that's the first thing I wanted to ask. So we get to ring the bell. If you're new here, if this is your very first time, if you're like, I just showed up, I saw a tweet about this or something on Discord, and I'm showing up for the first time. Reese Batten, who's been, I don't know, how long have you been a part of this? Feels like a while. Reese Batten landed a new job, and we're going to do a very special thing for Reese Batten. We're going to ring the bell for him. And this officially makes Reese Batten the 43rd person to land a job, 43rd viewer. I was in and out for a couple months. Fantastic. And if you can, let the people in the Twitch chat maybe know like what was like the one or two things that you thought really helped you in the job hunt. So that way other people can key in on it as well. Also today, if you're watching, I'm recording today's episode. The reason why I'm recording today's episode is because we're going to dive deep into the finding the job. We're going to go look at companies that you want to work for. We're going to like track down who those people are at those organizations. We're going to like try to land a job at a company today, not what's available. So Reese Batten, we're going to do this for you. So if you're new here, what we do is we ring a bell every single time that somebody lands a job, comes back and lets us know. There's lots of people who've landed jobs, but they didn't come back. And so Reese Batten, this is for you. If you are currently listening, if you want to turn your speakers down a little bit, this microphone picks up high frequencies really well. Also, this bell is a Buddhist call to prayer bell. I picked this up in Korea like 18 years ago. We were doing this live stream back in April. One of the viewers landed a job and we're like, oh, we need to do something. We need to do something. So here we go. Here we go. Ready? And 3, 2, 1. Reese Batten, congratulations. Number 43. This one's for you. High five. Well done. All right, I'm looking through the chat right now. Did we land another job? Oh, we got an internship. That's awesome. Welcome back. This is a good day. It's a real good day. That's awesome. And just trying to remember because I think Annika got an internship. Congratulations. You're number 44. Normally, we don't get 2 in one day. So, Annika, let me know if you want us to ring the bell for you. And let us know if we can consider you number 44. And also, yes, I'm not kidding. This thing picks up some serious high frequencies. That's awesome. It's a great way to start today. Anna89 said, hi, Jason. I'm in the middle of the interview process for a pen tester position. One of the interviewers recommended your company's modern app pen testing course, but the course doesn't seem to be available until May. So it happened this week. So the class ended today. It's actually happening right now. And so, yes, that is correct. I don't think it's happening again to May, but I did see Chris Stux, you got a new job too? That is awesome. That is fantastic. Chris Stux, CR Stux, let us know if you landed a job based on some of the stuff that we talked about. If you want us to ring the bell for you, and if you want to be considered number 44. I've never rang the bell this many times in one day. Also, this isn't normally how we start. Normally it's just like, hey everyone, how you doing? But this is fantastic. People coming back saying they landed new jobs. Incredible. All right, so Annika, we're going to ring the bell for you too. Landed at an Infosec internship. And so I think you even said job hunt and networking have been most helpful. Yeah, networking. Just meeting people and introducing yourself to people is an incredible way to land the job. All right, so Annika, you are number 44 because Reese Batten was 43. You're Annika, number 44. Congratulations. And remember, it's going to be loud. So, and if you just joined us, we're ringing the bell right now for Annika. Every time someone comes back to the live stream and tells us that they got a new job, we ring the bell for them. So, Annika, congratulations. This one's for you. In 3, 2, 1. Congratulations, Annika. All right. And then Reese Batten says, I was specifically waiting for Twitch notification for your live stream. Got a call from a recruiter in the morning. Annika, you are very welcome so much. And I should play this in the background. I will click on that later. Grayson and Grace, CR Stocks, let us know if we can consider you, I guess, number 40, 43, 40. So it was 42 when we started, 43, 44. My dogs right now, like, what are all these bells? All right. So number 43, 44, 45, KR Stocks. We're going to ring the bell for you right now. So ready? KR Stocks, congratulations. It was our third bell for today. And if you are a person who ever lands a job, comes back and let us know that you're one of our viewers that got a new job, we will ring the bell for you too. So I hope to ring the bell for all 40 or so of you here that have showed up today. Ready? 3, 2, 1. KR Stocks. Congratulations. High fives all around for all 3 of you. Fantastic work. BMT626 says, I'm tuning in after the IT Pro TV stream yesterday and getting ready to hit the job run as I look to move to a new city. Hope to learn some helpful tips and advice. Awesome. Yep. We will cover that today. Today we're going to dive into, so there's like 5 steps. And of course there's way more than 5 steps to landing a job. But today we're going to cover 5 steps because I can only get just so far with the stuff that I talk about. After that, it's your own interviewing, it's putting the pieces together, it's making the phone calls, all that stuff. Monopixel01, thanks for following. Ghost141, thanks for following. And Annika, KR Stocks, and Reese Batten, congratulations once again for landing your new jobs. And I hope that you take this information you've learned about job hunting, you pass it on to your friends and family, and they're able to land jobs too. So, today we're going to dive into one of the 5 steps, and I'm recording today's session because I want to make sure that people, if you missed it, it's Rapid 7, awesome, very cool. Reese Batten's going to be working at Rapid 7, great company. I know a bunch of people there, and I think you're going to have a great time. All right, Manny Navy, welcome. All right, so the 5 steps to landing a job are 1, finding a job that you want to apply for. And you're probably like, really? Is that why I'm here? Like, seems pretty basic. Number 2 is to create a tailored resume or CV, whatever you prefer to call it, based on the job description for that specific job. Number 3 is to apply at the company's website, and then LinkedIn and Glassdoor and stuff. And the reason why I even have that as a step is because it's so counterintuitive to how people job hunt nowadays. They just go to LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Monster, they apply there, and then they move on. Number 4 is to find an internal advocate at that organization to introduce yourself to as a human being applying for the job or who applied for the job. And number 5 is how to manage all your follow-ups. So to keep this all organized, to manage your follow-ups, and to make sure that you don't just send one message and like, I never heard back, so I guess they don't want me. So Manny Navy says, I want to know how to get an internship. We're going to cover all that, Manny. We'll talk about internships. Mac Mento, pleasure for you to be here as well. And Shah, great to see you, Shah. Sarta, yeah. And Sarta, I took your recommendation last time. You're like, hey, could you record this? And I was like, sure, I'll record it. So I will be back in 1 second. I need some water, and then we'll get started. All right, everybody, let's do it. Hello and thank you. My name is Manny Navy. You can ask questions at any time. I'll either answer it or tell you that we'll answer it at some point. Raise events. I love it that Jason does this to help people. Me too. You're lucky no cat keyboard. I know. Every time I leave, I always fear my cat getting on my keyboard. The only way to fix that is in the winter time to turn on the fireplace. Then he barely ever leaves that at all to come see me. My dog right now is definitely needing attention. Whenever I start live streaming and talking, he's like, "You talking to me?" You're all excited. If anyone here knows how to set up Proxmox, can we connect? That's a very specific question, Manny Navy, and hopefully someone does know how to answer that. All right, everyone, I am Jason Blanchard. I do this live streams twice a week, Tuesday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and Fridays from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And the reason why I do these is because I have a particular set of skills. And that particular set of skills is helpful for job hunting. I have a background in marketing and teaching and content creation. And I was able to help film students many years ago get their foot in the door in the film industry. And getting your foot in the door in the film industry is not easy. And so I came up with a lot of unorthodox ways to do so and taught them to all my students, and some of them applied it and were able to land jobs. Some didn't apply it and were still able to land jobs, and vice versa. So hopefully today I'll be able to help you with your job hunt, and we're going to dive into a very specific part of job hunting today, and that is finding a job to apply for. And if you're like, seems pretty simple, it is, but as we go through this, I think some of you are going to realize that you haven't done this. And when you haven't done this, then what are you hunting for? And what this thing is that I'm talking about is where you want to work and what kind of job do you want to have. And so I'm going to bring up this spreadsheet document over here. And over here it says, here's the company, here's the job post, here's the website, here's their LinkedIn page. This is the person I can find. This is their title. This is their LinkedIn page. And then, the reason why I want to reach out to them, and maybe that's like the email that you create. And then when you first contacted them. And if you're like, what are you talking about? So here we go. To everyone that's watching right now. I am not a believer. I mean, sure, I guess I do believe in this, that if you want a job, you could drive around, see what's available. You could see if there's help wanted signs in windows. You could do that. Or you could say, here's the 10 companies I want to work for. Buddy, you got to go lay down. Yeah, you got grounded from going outside earlier. You got grounded because you went outside and you just barked and you barked and you barked and you were just being real mean, a jerk to the whole neighborhood. So, all right. So I'm not a firm believer in just driving around seeing what's available. Now, if you are in the position where you've been out of work for multiple months, you've run out of money reserves, there's no money coming from the government or whatever the case may be, or whatever it is that is your case, then I understand that you need money. And if you need money, then anything will be fine. Like, there's a difference between here's what I would like out of my long-term career over the next 5 to 10 years versus I need to put food on the table right now. I need to support my family right now. And so there's a difference in hunting. Now, the thing is, you may get a job right now, but I don't want you to not think about the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years. And if you're sitting here right now, like Manny Navy says, I need money, and you're looking at internships, well, hopefully what we talk about today will help you for a long time in your career. It's not just about finding that first job. It's about where you get yourself to in the future. So let's get started. And to get started, I'm going to go in a really weird place. So I'm going to go in a weird place, not on the internet. I'm just going to go into a weird, like headspace. And so if you weren't expecting this, then let's get started. What I need you to do, and so I was actually hoping there would be a lot of people here today. And so what I'd like for you to do, and so ATT&CK says, I haven't been to streams lately, but your tip for a college student in my very first stream helped me, and I got placed yesterday. Holy cow! Like you landed a job yesterday, idiot Ticky, idiot Icky, idiot 77. Let me know if that's true, and if we can ring the bell for you, and if that's and if you can be considered number 46. Normally this doesn't happen. That's fantastic. All right, so everyone, I'm just gonna take one moment to congratulate Idiot Ticky here. That's fantastic. We've had 4 people come on the live stream today and say that they get new jobs. 4 and 1. I know this like never happens. This is really cool. And when I say it never happens, you only get like 1, or someone sends me a message, and that's how the number goes up. But congratulations, Idiot Ticky, for getting placed. You're a college student. You listened. You attended the live stream. You applied to things. You did it. So for all 4 of you that are tuned in today, for all 4 of you that said I got a job, you're the one that did the resume. You're the one that made the phone calls. You're the one that sent that message that made your heart race. And you're like, okay, here's the 5 sentences that Jason said, or whatever the case is. Like, that is awesome. And congratulations. And whew. All right, so here we go. I'm going to ring the bell for Idiot Ticky. You were number 46 of the live stream. It's a big day today. So ready? If you've never heard the bell before, it is loud. This microphone picks up high frequencies, so I'm going to do a countdown in case you want to close your ears. Idiot Ticky, this one's for you. Congratulations. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. My wife is probably upstairs, who does the live streams on Tuesday nights, going like, is that the bell again? Good gosh. That's fantastic. All right, so here we go. Will DeBee says, way to go. Great to hear these tips played out in real life. I know, right? I still remember, Pawn Hunters here. I still remember the first time I ever did like this live stream, and we're doing it for a couple weeks. And then Dusty came back and was like, I got a job. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. Oh, Dusty, thank goodness. Woo! Because, I teach this stuff, I do this stuff, but I'm not currently job hunting right now. I've job hunted in the past. I used these things when I job hunted for a few years. But I haven't had a job hunt in quite some time because I did put these things into practice. I did build a network. I do job hunt on a daily basis. And so I haven't had to. Jobs have just been offered to me. And if you're like, that is the most pretentious thing I think I've ever heard. Well, I'm sorry. I've gotten to a point where people offer me jobs because of the things that I'm going to talk to you about. Yes, that was loud. All right, so here we go. All right, so I'm going to go to this strange place today, and I'm thankful that there's a ton of you here. And so here's what I want you to do. The place that we're going to start today is this. What do you want from the job you get? What do you want from the job you get? Where do you want to work? Not like where do you want to work, but what kind of place do you want to work? And so what I'm going to ask you for is for you to give me just 1 or 2 things here in the Twitch chat of what you want from your next employer, or even your current employer. Maybe you want to pivot to a different position. And so what that looks like is, do you want to work 40 hours a week only? And that's a real thing. Like, do I want to work 40 hours a week only? Do I want to work 25 hours a week only? Do I want to work no more than 60 hours a week? Do I want an internship that possibly leads to employment? Because that's different than a internship that leads to job skill development. Or is this stream really interactive? Yes, Mac Memento, absolutely it's interactive. So feel free to jump in. Nightwolf 57391, thanks for following. Hacks Guy, thanks for following. Yak Takumor, I ruined that one. Thanks for following. And so Manny Nevi says, I want an entry-level job in pen testing, working no more than 40 hours a week. Smiley Eyes is like 40 plus. All right, so 40 plus. So an entry job. I want space and time for innovation and learning. Nice. Innovation and learning on the clock. So for me, that just means that you want 2 to 3 hours, maybe a week, maybe an entire day, 8 hours. So 20% of your time dedicated to R&D. So you could put it this way, 20% of time dedicated to R&D. $1 billion. Yes, nice. One of the things that my wife put on her list, and I want to just let y'all hear, is she doesn't want to be the smartest person in the room. And I liked how she put that. She didn't want to be the smartest person in the room because she wanted to have room to grow. She wanted people to learn from, and she didn't want everyone just turning to her going, "You know this one, right? Like, you know it?" And she's like, so she didn't want to be the smartest person in the room, but she doesn't want to be the, and dumb is, dumbest person in the room. Like, she was like, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room, but I also don't want to be the one that's not the least smartest person in the room. And so I was like, that's really cool. Flexible schedule. I just saw that one. So flexible schedule. That's important to you. This one, I want to help others. So another way to put that one is possibly mission oriented. So it's got like, there's a mission to the work that you do. Company to sponsor cybersecurity trainings and certifications. So company paid training and certs. Work from home 90%. Work from home 90%. I don't need to put I need to put the dumb one on my list. A fun work community. A fun work community. And for those of you that are here for the very first time, welcome. If you're also here for the first time, it isn't always like this. On Tuesday nights, we do a live job hunt from start to finish. On Fridays for the next, this week and for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to deep dive into each one of the aspects of job hunting. So that way you just get like the full, because each time I do this, it's like 8 hours of content in 2 hours. So right now I'm just trying to break it down into like 2 hours per. And so on Fridays for the next couple of weeks, we're just going to really deep dive. And I'm going to record those sessions too in case you wanted to show it to someone or you wanted to come back. Don't waste time in useless management reporting. Don't waste time in useless management reporting. I like that one. Not having unlimited PTO. Unlimited PTO is a myth. It is unlimited PTO. No, thank you. All right. Travel less than 50. So travel less than 50%. Hacks guy, thanks for putting that one in there because that one does matter. I like so travel less than 50%, and I like that you put less than, but 25% travel is a positive. Like for me, I like traveling 25% of the time. I like 1 week out of the month that I'm in some other city. I'm meeting people. I'm getting to introduce myself to others. I get to go to cool restaurants. I get to be on airplanes. I get to land in cities and take an Uber and meet people. I get to find a new favorite restaurant. Like I really enjoy that 25% of travel. Now, I've enjoyed not traveling during the pandemic, but I miss it a lot. So I have unlimited PTO now. Work-life balance. So work-life balance, the one thing I would ask you to do if you have work-life balance on your list is explain what that means. Because potentially an employer could like, we have great work-life balance, and then when you get there, you're like, this is not work-life balance. Like you just want me to bring my life here. Max 25% pager duty. I like it. Someone to teach me what I don't know, which is lots. Mentorship, like a formal mentorship program. Let me see if there's, I'm sure I missed a few. Tiger Phoenix Dragon, welcome. Tiger Phoenix Dragon, you're a little late. We had 4 people land new jobs today. Don't waste time. A more defined role. I like the defined role. And so you can ask what that means. Work from home 90%, company to sponsor, loaner lab equipment. Loaner lab equipment. Loaner lab equipment. That would be really cool if your employer gave you the things that you needed to make a home lab, or when they retired equipment that it was given to the employees to go and practice with, or if they wanted to use it to build whatever they wanted to without them having to take it and not telling anyone. Fun work community, challenge, and engaging. Engage. My daughter's upstairs laughing like a monster. All right, so a couple of things here that I wanted to see is, what about this one? And this one's for all of you. And they're still coming in. So here we go. Corporate environment or startup environment. What about healthcare? Free healthcare. What about free healthcare? What about less expensive healthcare? What about certain types of insurances, benefits, things like that? And the reason why I put corporate environment and startup environment on here is because Jason Blanchard does not do well in a corporate environment. I was in the military. I didn't do well in the military. Like, I thrived in the military because I enjoyed doing, like, all right, if this is the way it works, I'm going to do the thing that you asked me to do. Like, I'm going to be military for you. But like in my heart, I'm like, I just can't do this. Okay. I had a 6-year enlistment when I got started. And I remember the day that I hit 3 years in one day. And I was like, it's all downhill from here. Yes. So after 6 years, I definitely got out. I like the 401k match. Pay me for not getting sick. Pay me for not getting sick. Interesting. These are all adult topics. Healthcare. Who needs that? Monopixel one. I agree. Yes, I was in the military for 6 years, way back in the day. A company that believes in taking care of their employees. Hard times. Yeah, I like that one too. Poetic project manager. Company that takes care of employees. What if that's what if you put that as an employer profit sharing? Maybe that's something that's important to you. All right, so I'm gonna stop here, and maybe you have a couple more, and maybe you have some for your own personal list. But here's what I want to talk about. Have any of you made a list like this before? And you can say yes or no if you want to. Have any of you made a list of what you want? Have you made a list of what you want? Polyhister, thanks for following. Ken Pryor, thanks for following. And the reason why I ask you, have you made a list about what you want, is that if you don't know what you're looking for, then how do you know if you get it? And you're like, it's super simple. But if I was out hunting like deer and a fox came by, do I shoot the fox? Maybe. I'm like, well, I'm starving, so let me just shoot the fox. And if you're like, that analogy sucks. Yeah, it kind of does. We're hunting. But the thing is, what is your list? What is the things that are important to you? What is your criteria? What are the things that you want? And then this. Once you've made a list of what you want, put it in order. What about commute? Some of you right now are working from home, and so you don't commute anymore, and so you already put work from home 90% of the time. But how long is the perfect commute? Is it 15 minutes? Is it 30? Is it 45? Is it an hour? Is it an hour and 15? Hour and 30? 2 hours and 15 minutes? What is the perfect commute time for you? And all of a sudden you find a job, but it's an hour and 45 minutes away. Is that the perfect job? Or is the job, Tiger Phoenix Dragon said 3 minutes. And so my perfect commute time is 10 minutes. And I can talk about that in a little bit. But do you have a commute time? And so if you were like, I thought this was a job hunting live stream. It is. It is. Before we can start hunting, we got to figure out what we're hunting for. And so I wanted to cover this today. We're going to do a deep dive into finding the kind of work that we want to do. And to do that, you have to kind of figure out what you want first before you start hunting. Because if you don't know what you're hunting for, then you're just looking to take anything. And right now, like I said before, if your sole purpose in life is, let's put it up here, money. It's just money. Then maybe none of this other stuff matters. Money is the only thing that matters. But salary equals enough. Do you know how much salary equals enough for you? enough for what you need right now, enough for what you want to plan for the future, and enough for like all the things that come along with life. And so if you don't know what enough is, we can talk about that on a future live stream. So here, once you've made your list, and in fact, you can just kind of take this list or go through the Twitch chat right now and find the ones that you really liked and copy and paste those to your own list. But this is the list that you all started coming up with, things that were important to you. Now, the next step is to put this in the order of priority. And so what I'm going to do is, for me, I'm going to take this one down here, startup environment, and I'm going to move it up here. Because for me, a startup environment is really important. I'm going to take this 401k match. I mean, that's okay. Challenging and engaging. Sure. That one's up here at the top. Which one? Mission oriented? Yep. There. One of the ones that are really important for me personally is a content-rich environment. I need to know that I can make a lot of content, that I can produce and create things. Like, that's important to me. So right now, these are my top 5. I want to help others. So that one's like mission. So let's put that one there. Travel 25 is a positive. That one's not as important as money. 40 hours a week is super important. So let me put that up here. Down here to healthcare, because that one's important to me and my family. So I'm going to put that one up here. And actually, healthcare is more important to me than salary. And so this is, I'm going to put one more. And it's actually the most important thing to me. And limited bosses. I like autonomy and limited bosses. Like, that's just me. Like, I like autonomy and limited bosses. And when John Strand asked if I wanted to come work at Black Hills Information Security, I mean, one of the things I asked was like, so like, how much autonomy do I have? Like, how many bosses do I have? He's like, it's me. And you can do whatever you want. And I was like, so you're saying I can do whatever I want and you're my only boss? He's like, yep. And I was like, yes. So, yes, unlimited bosses. No. So autonomy and limited bosses, a startup environment. I like a startup environment. Challenging and engaging. I know things are spelled wrong. Healthcare, salary. I know what enough is, so that I need to ask for enough. I want to help others. I want to work 40 hours a week only, and I'm mission-oriented and content-rich environment. Let's throw that one up there, because if it's not a content-rich environment, it doesn't matter if it's a startup. And so this is my list. Like, I'm sure I could keep going, but this is my list of priorities. This is my list. Your list could be different. If you like a corporate environment, if you like some other things, if you want to work more than 40 hours, if 20% of your time dedicated to R&D is more important to you, then you drag it up here. And here's the reason why this list is important. I've already talked about, if you don't know what you're hunting for, you don't know what you're looking for, then it's hard to find it. But check this out. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to type in information security analyst. I'm going to type in information security analyst and jobs. And then I'm going to click on the very first one here, and we have Telos Corporation out of Ashburn, Virginia. It's a compliance analyst. It's been seen 147 times. They have 28 applicants. And then check this out. This is who they're looking for. And then this is all the things that they want that person to be able to do. They have a list. They have a list. They have a list of what's important to them. And now you will have a list of what's important to you. And I believe that the employee and the employer should be on a pretty level playing field. When you go into a job hunting situation and you don't have a list, if you don't have your own bullet points of what's important to you, then you'll kind of take whatever you get offered. And that is totally fine in the beginning. It's totally fine if your sole purpose right now is to make money. But in the long term, for you to be happy and for you to enjoy what you do, you want the place that you work to be the things on your list in the order of your importance. And so if you go over here and they're like, the company's like, hello, future employee. This is what we want you to be able to do. We want all this. All this is important to us. And you're like, all right, future employer, these are my list. And these are all the things important to me. And these are all the things that I want you to be able to do and provide for me. I want training. I want this. I want enough salary. I want autonomy. I want limited bosses. I want healthcare. I want a 401k match. I want all these things. And the employer says, well, I can't do all that. And you're like, okay, well then let's compromise. So for the things that I'm willing to compromise on, are you also willing to compromise on some of the things that you're looking for? Interesting. So, okay. So employee, future employee, you're saying, I'm not everything you're looking for. That is correct. Future employer, you're not everything I'm looking for. Okay, well, you're not everything I'm looking for. That is correct. I'm not everything you're looking for. All right, let's compromise. So I want you to just go into the job hunt going, this is what I want. And I'm going to look for what I want. And if I don't find everything that I want, that's okay. I'll compromise on a few things. Or I'll say like, a little bit of travel is okay. Or not enough money right now is okay now because I see it how it's going to help me in the future. But really, where's your list? How much gap is acceptable between offer and our desire? I think that's up to you. Like, there's what are the non-negotiables? And so at some point you have to say these, and I'm going to make them a different color. I'm going to say these are my non-negotiables. For all future companies that I work for, these are the 5 things that matter most to me. And if that company doesn't match those 5 things, then I won't even want to work there. And so all this other stuff, you're like, it's nice to have. Like, those things are nice to have, but these are the ones that I will not compromise on. And so anytime you come across a potential employer and they don't meet one of those 5 criteria, you're like, hey, thank you so much for the time, but I'm going to choose to go in a different direction. And the employer's like, really? Oh, I thought, okay. You're like, but I mean, if you can improve my healthcare or you can give me more autonomy and more limited bosses, then I think I might be able to work here. Like, oh. So I just, like someone said, it's a great paradigm. It's just, I go into a different mindset when I'm job hunting, and I encourage you to go into job hunting with a different mindset. All right. So now that you see some of the things that you're looking at here, like some criteria do not have a price tag, some do. That is true, Macmento. Some do, some don't. All right, so here's the next step. I have this list over here, and it's empty. It is the companies that I would want to work for. W9 Volt, thanks for following. The New Voodoo, thanks for following. Jay Wasted, thanks for following. Will DeBeast, thanks for following. So it's a business decision. If it works out for both parties, then do the deal. Yeah, exactly, Jay Rashad. Like, it's a business deal. A lot of times people think like when I go to work for a company, like I work for Black Hills Information Security, I am essentially selling my service of content and community building to Black Hills Information Security. I could sell that service to somebody else. I could sell that service to another company. I could choose to stop selling my service to Black Hills at any time and choose to sell it to another service. I'm a service provider. Each and every one of us is a service provider. If you make a widget, you're providing a service of making that widget. If you protect an organization from attack, you're selling the service of protecting an organization from attack. Like, I am here because I want to be here, not because I have to be here. And if I want to be somewhere else, I will choose to want to be somewhere else. And if you don't treat me well, I will then choose to go someplace else. And if you don't align to what my list of my wants and needs are, then I would choose to sell my service to someone else. All right, so I got this list here of companies. And so what I'd love for you to do, it's active audience participation right now, is give me, also my chair squeaks, give me a list, or just one, of one company you would like to work for. It doesn't matter why. Just in the Twitch chat, just throw a company out that you would want to work for. And then once we build this list, if you're like, Jason, if I like if I was to ask you right now to give me 10 companies that you want to work for, you might struggle to come up with 10. So I'm going to just list these up here. So we got DECA, we got Accenture, we have Tesla, we have Synac, we have McKinsey, we have Offensive Security, we have Rapid7, we have Amazon, we have Toyota, NA for North America, we have BHIS, we have Ubisoft, we have FireEye, we have, I don't know, I normally look at Glassdoor reviews of the company. Nice. John Deere. John Deere, I haven't heard that one before. That's awesome. FedEx. Taco Bell. Taco Bell Corporate or just Taco Bell? All right. And then government. You want to work in government? All right. And then any more? If not, I'll move it to the next step. All right. So if I was to ask you to come up with 10 companies that you want to work for, you may struggle to come up with 10. But here's what I want you to do. Here's your next homework assignment for everyone that's watching right now. And Grayson's coming in with the old Walmart. Grayson, absolutely. All right. Infosec Walmart. Yes, I'll add it. Infosec. My current company, nice, MLH. I love when people love working for their current company. And Smiling Eyes, I hope that you're watching today because you're thinking about your long-term future. But what we got right now is these 19 companies. And if you were to struggle coming up with 10 companies to work for, let me show you some ways to figure out where you want to work. So one of the things that you can do is do this: companies thriving in the pandemic. And there's going to be articles written about companies thriving in a pandemic. So we click over here to, and this is right now we're just coming out with like, where would I want to work? Like I've never thought about where I want to work. I've always thought about what's available. Like I've been in the mindset my entire life of just driving around and looking for help wanted ads. Because that's what this is. I typed in information security analyst in the United States. This is like driving around looking for help wanted ads. They're available. If I wanted to, I could say here in my own town of Baltimore, Maryland, what are all the InfoSec jobs in Baltimore, Maryland? There's 298 results. And now I would start looking for InfoSec jobs. This is the equivalent of driving around looking for help wanted signs. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's just another way you could do it. And that is by deciding where you want to work first and then pursuing jobs at those companies. Instead of just seeing what's available, saying, you know what, I really want to work at McKinsey. Or I really want to work at Rapid7. Or I really want to work at Black Hills. I really want to work at FireEye. This is where I want to work. So how about I put all my time and effort into working where I want to work? All right, so over here I typed in some companies thriving. I like how it says some companies thriving in the pandemic. And so we go through here and we just look at these articles. And you're like, just looking at articles? Yeah, I just look at articles and see if there's anything in here that I can pull that could potentially be useful to me. I'm looking for a top 10 list, and this was actually quite terrible. This is a quite terrible list of companies thriving in it really feels like clickbait, and I feel just terrible. All right, prospering in the pandemic, the top 100 companies. Let's see if this is, the Financial Times. They also want me to like cookies and stuff, and like, sure. Here we go. So when you get over here and you're like, here's the information technology companies like Shopify, PayPal, Adobe, Apple, Zoom Video, NVIDIA, ASL, ML, Tesla, Pinduoduo, the Home Depot. So this right here, so Willoughby says, I have to step away, but thank you so much for taking the time to help us all out. I'll finish up the video later. That's right, because it's recorded this time. And then Grayson dropped in a link, the 10 companies thriving during the pandemic. So if I go through here, you'll see all the different companies listed. And this is a great place to get started. And the reason why I picked companies thriving in the pandemic is because if you want to hitch your wagon to a company that's doing well, that's going to be flush with cash. And since they're flush with cash because they're doing well, that means they're going to expand and hire, and they're looking to expand and hire. Damn it. I wish I had something else to say. But if you didn't mention like Tencent or like even Facebook, no one mentioned Facebook, or NVIDIA, Alphabet, Google, and T-Mobile, and I don't even know what this company does, but it's e-commerce out of China. But we got Netflix and another Chinese company and Shopify. And so, Chick-fil-A. Man, is there never not a line at Chick-fil-A? Gosh, like anytime I have to go. Wildebeest, we'll see you next time. All right, so if you don't know where you want to work, you could do here's the top 100 companies thriving in the pandemic, and start building your list out of that. And it's not necessarily like number 1, number 2, number 3. It's just, this is a place to get started where you hadn't thought like, Adobe or like Audi or whatever this company is, like AbbVie, like, well, what do they do? And you're like, Botox, okay, what does this mean? You get down here and you find some other companies. But check out this. You could also do top 10 companies in Chicago. So what are the top 10 companies in Chicago? Let's say you live there. And you get here and it says, here's the 20 biggest companies in Chicago. And you're like, why does this even exist? The reason it exists is for clicking, for people to click on it. And so they build these lists so that way they then can turn around and sell it and say, hey, Accenture, would you like to be listed in our magazine for top 10 biggest companies in Chicago? And Accenture is like, we have billions of dollars and we have a marketing budget that's just, gigantic. Sure, we'll pay the $2,000 to be listed as the top one, company in your town. That's one of the reasons they do it. The other reason is just there's research companies out there that spend their time doing this, and they sell this research to other places. The Gallion Group, great place to work. Nice. So we got like Boeing and Abbott Laboratories. So if you were in Chicago and you're like, well, where do I want to work in Chicago? And you're like, I never thought about Abbott Laboratories. Like maybe they have a cybersecurity division, or they're looking for marketing or management. You have United, Accenture, Boeing. You have all these companies here. So if you've never done this before and typed in what's the 20 biggest or 10 biggest companies in my town, you say, or 10 biggest companies in Illinois, and then it would list the 10 biggest companies you have, or Illinois 100's biggest companies. So you click here, and it's still the same website, Zappia, and you're like, thanks, Zappia. And you could go through here and just see if there's any companies you had not thought of yet. And then we go back down here, and maybe you find list of Illinois companies, which may be even better for you, because now you can go through here if you're a person who lives in Illinois and say like, what's this, or what's this, or what's this, or what's this. And now when you find a company that like, that looks interesting, you go back and you add it to your list of companies that you want to work for. Does all this make sense so far? And I know this isn't like necessarily job hunting, but it is job hunting because it's a different way of looking at job hunting. It's like, where do I want to work? And then I'm going to show you how to work there. That's going to be the next part of today's live stream. Any questions? Any questions? Make sense? Make sense? Macmento says, did I do this, Jason? Absolutely. When I moved to Los Angeles a few years ago, when I did move to Los Angeles, I made a list of the top 10. Then I made a list of, I would say, the top 50, and then I pursued working at those companies. One of those companies was DC Comics, and I got a job there. The other company I wanted to work for was Warner Brothers, and I got a job there. And how did BHIS make the list? So someone mentioned BHIS in the live chat. So I did do this. And then the other thing too, Macmento, is when you have a list like this, one of the things that I don't dive into that often, I did last week. Like last week was just, we went into all the alternative ways to land a job. And one of the things that I did when I was job hunting Macmento was I went to Facebook, and I'm not going to, but I'm just going to show you this. Facebook ads. So I took out Facebook ads targeting the 50 companies I wanted to work for, and essentially the top 10 companies, and then I broadened it out. So I took out Facebook ads targeting the companies I wanted to work for and the job titles of the offices or the department I wanted to work at. And so I targeted the social media departments of the top 10 production companies like Sony and Bad Robot and Warner Brothers and some others. And so when it was time for me I got an interview for Warner Brothers, and the person who interviewed me said, have you ever used Facebook? And I was like, yeah, if you do a Facebook search for facebook.com/hire Jason Blanchard, which is a Facebook page I had at the time, it took her to the page, and she's like, oh my gosh, I've seen your ad for months, and I didn't realize you were a real person. And I was like, oh, well, damn, you didn't realize I was a real person. But, oh, cool, you saw my ad. And she's like, yes, absolutely. Do you want the job? And I was like, yes, I would like the job very much. Thank you so much. How do you look for a good fit? So W9 Volt says, how do you look for a good fit? That part comes in the next phase. So some of that is if your top reasons for working places, let's say a corporate environment that's your top 10, like top 10 corporate companies. Then not in India, no, not at this time, but if you want to do a search for India, like I say, top 10 corporate companies, it would show you here's the top 10 corporate companies. Like if you're looking for a real corporate environment, then these are the ones that you would want to work for. Or if you were looking for top 10 government contractors and government defense contractors, I would say here are the top 10 government defense contractors, and you would start your job hunt there. If you were looking for government jobs specifically, then you would go to usajobs.gov, usajobs.gov, and then you would type in, and it even says agency, and you're like, FBI. I want to work at the Federal Bureau of Investigations. And so then it would show you all the top jobs at the FBI that you could work for. Or you could always type in cyber, because the United States government liked calling it cyber. And so you would go through here and it would show you all the cyber jobs available at the United States government, because if that was what was important to you. All right, so I'm looking through the chat. This is some great advice. I started a cybersecurity internship on Monday. Now I have a good starting point for hopefully converting to a full-time job or searching for the job that fits my priorities. DGAF, that's awesome. Congratulations on starting a new job. All right, so moving on to the next phase of this. Hey, just because. How's it going? Sakura Carl. It's good to see you. All right, some audience participation. Here's what I need you to do. I need everyone to take a look at this list right here. Everyone to take a look at this list and only this list right here. And in the Twitch chat, put the one company that you would want to work for based on this list. So it's the company based on this list that you would want to work for the most. So it's the company you would want to work for the most based on this list. Don't fret, it's Brett TV Games. I am currently on my co-op internship on a SOC. Excited to learn. That's awesome, don't fret. We will talk about internships here in a second. Well, we are talking about internships. If you are seeking an internship, this whole thing applies. You would just apply this to finding an internship at the company you want to work for, because getting an internship at a company you want to work for is way different than getting an internship that was available in your area. All right, so I'm looking through the list right now. I'm seeing things like Amazon, Ubisoft, Tesla, government, IBM, BHIS. All right, so I'm going to move Tesla to the top because I see it a bunch of times. Amazon's going to the top, but not all the way at the top, so I'm going to move that there. BHIS I saw a few times. Tesla, DECA, FireEye, government, McKinsey, Ubisoft. All right. And I see IBM up there. All right, everybody, you can stop what you're doing. I'm going to move FireEye up here too because I saw it a few times. All right, everybody, based on this list and this list only, I need everyone in the Twitch chat to say, what is the company you do not want to work for the most? What is the company you do not want to work for the most, based on this list right here? So based on this list right here, what company do you not want to work for the most? All right, so we got Taco Bell and Amazon. No, Taco Bell, Walmart. Taco Bell, definitely. Taco Bell. Taco Bell. John Deere, it's going to move down. John Deere. Down here. Taco Bell, Taco Bell, Taco Bell, Taco Bell, Taco Bell, Amazon. All right, so based on this list, Manny Navy is like, I'm winning. And Manny Navy, was this a corporate job at Taco Bell or just a job at Taco Bell? And I know, I see it, Grayson. They just don't get how awesome Walmart would be to work in the corporate environment. It's the number one like corporation in the entire world, but I guess they just don't want. It. Also, Amazon's gonna move down because it got a bunch of I don't want to work there, so I'm gonna move it down. And this feels about right so far. All the others were pretty middle of the road. Government, I saw a few up here, so I'm gonna move that one up. All right, everybody, take a look at this. Here we go. Here's the next phase of the job hunt. All right, ready? Whenever you're job hunting, I want you to make a list of the top 10 companies you want to work for, and that list can continue to grow. So it's not about the, and even if you can only find 5, then start with 5 and start hunting with 5, and I'm pretty sure you're going to find other jobs along the way, especially when I cover some of the other things that we're going to talk about. But once you have that list, it's your list. It's no one else's list. Right now, this is someone else's list. That's why Taco Bell is so easy to put towards the bottom. Sorry, Manny Navy. But when it's your list, and let me show you my list. I'm going to show you my list so that way you can see what my list looks like. My list is the Black Hills Information Security at the top, and then Ramsey Solutions. Ramsey Solutions is the Dave Ramsey show. It helps people get out of debt and stuff like that. That's I love that. Discord, I think Discord's an amazing company that started and really thrived, not started in the pandemic, but really thrived in the pandemic, and it's an incredible way to bring communities together. Writing career. In fact, I'm going to make a slight change to my here. I'm moving writing career up above Black Hills Information Security, but the thing about a writing career is I can do both at the same time. So I can do a writing career and Black Hills Information Security at the same time. MGH is a local ad agency here in Baltimore, and they have the Old Bay campaign. So if you've been a part of this live stream before, then you've heard me talk about Old Bay seasoning. I live in Maryland, where Old Bay is almost a religion. And so if you've never been to Maryland, or if you don't know about Old Bay, then you're like, what are you talking about? That's terrible. Old Bay is amazing. In Maryland, we put Old Bay on our Old Bay. We walk around wearing Old Bay like clothing. It's a strange phenomenon that happens here. So Old Bay is just phenomenal. And the reason why I even care about MGH at all is because they have the Old Bay contract. Like, they do all the marketing for Old Bay, and if I was going to work for an ad agency here in town, I'd want to work for the ad agency that has the Old Bay contract. Trusted.CK. I love Dave Kennedy and what that they do at Trusted.CK. Blizzard Entertainment, like getting a chance to work for a large, and it's not just working for Blizzard, it's like the community aspects of Blizzard. And there's so much content. Like, because remember, if you go back to my list, like what does my list look like? Autonomy and limited bosses, content-rich environment, startup environment, challenging and engaging in healthcare. Like, those are some of my must-haves. And so a content-rich environment is one of my top must-haves. Autonomy. I mean, one of the reasons I want a writing career is because I can do whatever I want. I'm my own boss. In a startup environment. So remember your list. Like, your list informs where you want to work. Your list helps you decide like what's most important to me. Your list helps you put in order where you want to work. Like, your list of what's important to you helps with that. And so if you go back to my Atari hotels, if you've never seen this before, I'll open it like this. And you're like, what is this? Atari is going to create their own. This is like a concept hotel that they want to put somewhere. Can't even remember where, but it's like, is this Blade Runner? Is this the future? This is fantastic. How can I work there? So I didn't even know that existed. One day I saw it on Twitter. Google, Nintendo, Sony, Bad Robot, Baltimore Aquarium, Johnson & Johnson, and Shutterfly. Someone said Blizzard Entertainment. Like, yeah, do your research. Like, yeah, I haven't pursued jobs here. But if I was to pursue a job at Atari Hotels and I found out I had like eight or nine bosses, no autonomy, then I'm pretty sure it would just like go down here. So this right now is just putting a list together where I want to work, and then I'm going to start pursuing them. All right. So next step. Interviewed at ATT&CK yesterday. Great group of people. That's awesome, Grayson. Is there anyone that can help me with Proxmox? Damn it, Manny. You have Atari in your favorite bar? I do, yeah. Just looking through right here. Do some research on Blizzard. I've been able to connect with a security architect at Ubisoft and got advice on what to. That's awesome. Wasn't that the one that was supposed to go in Las Vegas? Probably. Is there anyone in Proxmox? And then Manny looks like Shadowland PMG. Not the Blizzard of nowadays, but all right. Cool. Manny really needs us. All right, good. Hopefully someone here can help. And Manny, if they can't help, go to the Black Hills Discord channel and maybe they can help you there. Okay, so it has now been 1 hour. What have we accomplished? Well, we rang the bell for 4 people who landed new jobs today. That was awesome. Well done. High fives. The second thing that we covered is putting together a list of what you want and how important that is for you to come up with a list of what you want, because the company has a list of what they want. If a company has a list of what they want, I feel you should have a list of what you want. So that way you both are on equal footing when you go into the hiring process. The next thing that we did is we generated a list of companies that we'd want to work on. So work for. So here comes the next part, and this is the critical part. This is the part that no one's going to want to do, but it's really important. So here we go. Once you have put your list together, your list. It's not my list. It's not a list that was made for you. It's not your spouse's list for you. It's not your mom's list for you. It's not a friend's list for you. It's your list. And when you put it in the order of importance to you, so if Tesla, and a lot of people said Tesla, and I'd like working at Tesla. That'd be cool. T-Nibs, thanks for following. D-Gaff, thanks for following. Solar Witchy, thanks for following. Undermined, thanks for following. Appreciate it. And so once I have this list together, you start at the bottom and you job hunt at the bottom of your list. You job hunt at the bottom of your list, and the reason why is because you don't care as much. And I'm being dead serious. You start at the bottom of your list when you job hunt because you don't care as much about that company. And what happens to human beings is that you care more the closer you get to the top of your list. You will care more the closer you get to the top. And so when you start job hunting at the bottom of your list, you're going to be pretty much like, whatever. I'll send a message to whoever I want because it's at the bottom of my list. I'll message the CEO if I want to because it's at the bottom of my list. But when you get to the top of your list, all of a sudden you're like, oh God. All right, let me just reread this like 4 or 5 times. Okay, let me read it 4 or 5 times. Let me send it to a friend, have them read it. Does this make sense? And then you send it and you're like, oh God. All right, I sent it. They probably think I'm a jerk. They think I'm a jerk, and now they think I'm a jerk, and I'll never work there. That's great. I did it. I messed up. You know, I totally should have rewritten that. I should have never listened to that Jason guy. That BanjoCrashland, totes, what an asshole. Gosh. Oh, man, I can't believe I sent a message to that guy. Like, that's what happens to us when we really, really care about working someplace. So you start at the bottom. So we're going to get a job at Taco Bell. Not making food, but working in the corporate environment. So let me show you how to get a job at Taco Bell. And since none of you care about getting a job at Taco Bell, this is going to be fun. And I'm serious. It's going to be fun. The reason why it's fun is because we can do whatever we want. We can create whatever we want. It's Yum Brands. Fantastic. Yeah, let's do that. It is Yum Brands. And right now, someone from Taco Bell is watching this watching this live stream and they're recording. Like, oh, no one wants to work at Yum Brands? I guess not. Sorry. All right, so let's do it. We're gonna find a job at Taco Bell. So and by showing you how to get a job at Taco Bell, I'm going to show you how to get a job anywhere. By showing you how to get a job at Taco Bell, the process that we're gonna walk through to get a job at Taco Bell is gonna help you be able to get a job at Tesla, or a job at Amazon, or a job wherever you want to work. What if is in the bottom of your list, but they want you on board and give you lots of money? Should I reject? You know, I really hope that you have that problem. Maurizio Zazzo, I'm sorry if I messed that up. I really hope you have that problem. I really hope that those of you that do this, that you start going through and you make this list and you work your way up to the top. I hope Accenture says, you know what? We'd love to offer you a job making lots of money. And you're like, oh, but I had 6 more to go. Fine, I'll take your lots of money. Because, I mean, when you go back to, all right, does this job at Accenture, which is 7th on my list, give me the things that I'm looking for? It goes back. And so we go over here. And so I hope that's the case, that as you're making your way up your list, you start getting job offers and you're like, oh, damn, do I turn it down? Jeez. All right, so here we go. All right, so I'm doing a search for Taco Bell. And I go to tacobell.com. All right, let's see how to get a job at Taco Bell. So go all the way down to the bottom, and I look for careers. All right, so I got careers at Taco Bell, and I'm going to click over here to, we're going to look at corporate opportunities. And the reason we're looking at corporate opportunities is because we want to work on, let's say, information security or something like this. At Yum Brands, they're like, literally just thinking, this Blanchard guy is funneling so many great candidates. We should send him a fruit basket. Nice. All right, so I go through here, and I'm like, all right, so corporate environment, information technology. Okay. So I click on information technology, and they have an associate manager, production support, iOS lead manager, manager by production, and a service desk level 1 analyst, and it's a contract position. Like, interesting. So I'm gonna go back over here and like, let's see, do they have anything else that might be available? So really, the only thing I'm looking at right now is these 5 potential Infosec IT jobs. I'm just gonna type in the word. A lot of times what I do whenever I go to a company's website is I type in security. So I'm going to type in security, and it comes back with these jobs right here. And I just scroll through to make sure that there's nothing I'm missing as far as like something that they didn't put someplace else. Technology analyst, interested in future opportunities. I don't know what that means, but maybe. Service desk level 1, and it's a contract position. So I'm going to take a look at it. There might be some of you right now like, there's a... All right. So they use what looks like at Staffmark, they're using a contractor position called Staffmark, which is going to help place that person. So they are a subsidiary of Yum Brand. So if we weren't keen on working at Taco Bell, you're like, all right, well, let's take a look at Yum Brand. And so we could go to yumbrands.com, see what we got over here, scroll all the way down to the bottom, because normally that's where the, do you want to work here? 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 I don't see it. So we go back up here to careers. There it is. And we go to careers here at Yum Brands. And we say, start your Yum career. Okay. And then we search jobs. And then in the jobs, they're using the same technology. So that's interesting to note. If we go back over here, it's the same type of interface. Now that we go to Yum Brands and we're at Yum, I'm going to type in the word security and see what we get here. All right. We have an information security analyst in Plano, Texas. So I'm going to take a look at that. I'm going to open that in another. And that is it. We have information technology, RIS is what they call it. IT shared services, administration, development, general. But I'm pretty sure I just found it. So there's 5 results. And we go over here. There's a information security analyst position at Plano, Texas. And here we go. So what we're going to talk about next week on the live stream, and so if you're not able to come back next week, then you would watch the recording. And what I'm going to talk about next week is I'm going to do a deep dive in building a tailored resume that fits, a tailored resume that is tailored to this specific job post. So you would create a resume based on the job description. And so if you're like, come again now? What are you talking about? Well, I'm a firm believer in that you job hunt first and then build a resume. Like, how do you know what to put on this resume for an information security analyst position at Yum Brands in Plano, Texas, unless you actually click here and say, well, we're looking for a partner with business and IT stakeholders to ensure that IT security and data privacy risk are clearly articulated in a manner that is understood by business. And you're like, oh, okay. So that's what they're looking for. And so next week, we're going to do a deep dive into job resume building, okay? But today, I'm just going to skip over that. What you would do right now is you'd love to see a European job hunt. Oh yeah, I could do a European job hunt. And so you would create a tailored resume for this, and then you would apply here at the company's website. So you get down here and it says apply now. I'm like, cool, I'm going to apply now. Check out what happens next. This takes me to a Oracle Cloud, which has this thing going on right now. And it's got all this stuff happening afterwards, and I'm pretty sure someone here that has information security in their background could be like, all right, so we got an ID, there's a possible email that's going to be sent to people. We're looking for an email address here. Those are my email accounts. You're like, yes, I agree to this. And you move on to the next phase. So you would have, at this point have a tailored resume based on this job description over here for Yum Brands for this information security job. And then you would apply at the Yum Brand website. Okay. So that's like step 1. We found a job that was available, this information security analyst job. And you're like, but I don't want to live in Plano, Texas. And you're like, it's okay. I'm just showing you the steps here of how to do this. Number 2 is to create a tailored resume. Number 3 is to apply at the company's website. Now, if you've never wondered or ever applied at the company's website, the reason why I care about applying at the company's website is because this is tied in to their HR management system. Like when you apply for this job, there's a good chance that if you were to look through here, there might even be like a job code. And on other jobs, you'll see that they have like a job code listed. A lot of times you can look through the company's website. They'll say it's reference number 000171123 or job number, whatever. And you can find those codes. And the reason why that's important is because I'll show you in a few minutes. But this one doesn't have one, and that's okay. It actually might be up here. So if you look, it might be this number 436. That might be something, or this request ID might be something too. But if we go over here, when you apply at this company's website, so you now apply at this company's website, an email will most likely be sent to the HR person who's responsible for filling this position. So there's human beings that were responsible for creating this job position. There's human beings responsible for putting it on the company's website, and there's human beings responsible for getting the resumes, going through them, figuring out and scaling it back to the ones that they think would be most applicable, and then forwarding those on to the hiring manager. And then at that point, they work with the hiring manager to select candidates to then bring in for interviews. Is everyone tracking me so far? And so look for codes. Yes, look for codes. Stay away from certs. I don't know what stay away from certs means, but not quite sure. All right. So once you've applied at this company's website, when you've applied there, what about fishing for the hiring manager and sending directly to the team? Murder, death, kill 22, that's what we're doing next. That's exactly what we're doing next. Oh, like search, it doesn't, we'll talk about that next week, like search, what you should know, what you shouldn't know, like should and shouldn't know, like I don't know. Like I base building tailored resumes and what I should learn based on the job description itself. All right, so where are we again? Like what happened? Like let me just recap where we're at. So we built a list of companies we wanted to work for. We're at Taco Bell, which led us to Yum Brands. We went here and like, there's like an IT job that maybe I could take this job in Irving as a service desk level 1 and then pivot into something else in the future. But then I was like, wait, they work for Yum Brands. Let me go to Yum's website. So in fact, I'm just going to take this and all I'm doing right now is I'm copying and going back over and saying, here is the career website that I found. Here is the job post that I found, the specific job post. So I'm going to take this. I'm going back over and I'm pasting that there. And remember, there's other things that we're going to do here. And now we move on to the next phase. So we've now found a job that was available. We built a tailored resume for that job. We applied at the company's website. Now, number 4 is we find internal advocates. Find an internal advocate at that organization. We find a human that's at that organization that we can introduce ourselves to as another human who wants to apply at that organization, and we get to know them. We build a relationship with them. We talk to them on the phone. They talk to us. We talk to them. We get to know them. They know our wants. We go back and say, this is what we're looking for. And they're like, oh, that's exactly what we're looking for, and all that stuff. All right. So now we're at LinkedIn, and I'm just going to type in Yum Brands. So we got Yum Brands right here. And the first thing that's going to pop up is like, Yum Brands. You're like, all right, Yum Brands it is. And they're like, would you like to go to our company website? I'm like, no need, already been there. Now you can, one of the things I do like to do is you go here to the jobs and you type in the word security again and see if the job's there too. So you're like, all right, so I found the security job over here. Okay, I found it over here. But then I also like going to LinkedIn and just typing in the word security and seeing it. Oh, they have a cloud security engineer. They have a cloud security engineer. They have a DevSecOps engineer. Wait a second. Those weren't listed. Were they? Oh, they did. They have a .NET. Nope. They were not listed. So we go over here. Actively recruiting. Actively recruiting. Actively recruiting. I just found more jobs. Now, when you find more jobs, there's a really cool thing that happens. You can ask questions. When you find jobs that are on LinkedIn that are not on the company's website, you have permission now to ask questions of the people who work in HR at that company. And I know you're like, what are you talking about? Let me show you. So we go over here to people. So I'm going to click this in a new tab just so that way we can just jump back to it. All right, so we go over here and we go to the 11,129 employees at, and I'm going to type in human resources. And now we have the 378 employees that work in human resources at Yum Brands. And when I go over here and I got senior manager talent acquisition at Yum Brands. Hello, Kelly. It's very nice to meet you. We have a chief people officer at Yum Brands. Hello for KFC. We have chief people officer for KFC. We got other people here. Senior manager, human resources. We have human talent acquisition partner. Hello, Stacy. It's nice to meet you. We have Hamram. We have senior. And you're like, well, why are you picking some people and not picking other people? Like, no, I'm just picking people. We go over here. We senior director compensation. That's not who we're looking for. We're looking for talent acquisition. So I could go back over here and clear this out and say, all right, so they have talent acquisition people. So let's type in the word talent. And we have 186 employees now that have the word talent. And so we can scale that back a little bit and see if we can find somebody specifically. So we got Mark is this Chief People Officer for VP Global Talent. All right, very cool. We have Senior Manager Global Talent, Head of Talent. We got Mary Beth. It's very nice to meet you. And then we got Debbie. She's going to be the last one that we're going to look at right now. Okay, so what are we doing next? We're doing open source intelligence gathering and reconnaissance on the target company we want to work for. Because remember, they're on our list. They're at the bottom of our list, but they're on our list. And so let's go back over here to Yum Brands here. They had their own website, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to go back to my information, so LinkedIn, and we're going to start looking up people. So I'm going to find points of contact at this company. So the first one we're going to start with here is Kelly Schmidt, and she's a senior talent. She's a senior manager, talent acquisition at Yum Brands. First thing I noticed is that her messages are closed. So she doesn't have free messages. So if I wanted to send Kelly a message, I would have to pay for that, or I would have to find Kelly's email address. So I'm going to take a look at the chat for a second and just see, thank you, old Spec Ops guy here, looking at career change. W9 Volt, thanks so much for being here. We have thanks for the links. I think it's very hard for job hunters to reach out for hiring companies, and this is very helpful. Super hack. Thanks, Raise Media Events. Yeah, the one thing I've learned about job hunters, Raise Me Events, is that a lot of times job hunters, for whatever reason you are unemployed, and it wasn't your it wasn't your plan. Your plan wasn't to be unemployed. You weren't planning to be furloughed. You weren't planning to be laid off. You weren't planning for your company to dissolve and go away. You weren't planning to graduate. Well, I mean, you were planning to graduate, but now that you have to graduate, you have to find a job. Any specific tips for finding an entry-level tech job? All these Kobe pair are how to find an entry-level tech job. Everything I'm talking about right now is how to find an entry-level tech job. But today I'm concentrating on finding an entry-level tech job at the company you want to work at. Oh, man. Macmento already found the email address for Kelly Schmidt. It's kelly.schmidt@yum.com. Fantastic work. All right, so you could do it that way. You could find the email address that way, and you can totally send an email address. And I'm going to show you exactly what to write here in a few minutes of what would be on that email or what would be in this private message. But I'm not done with Kelly yet. So I do have a contact information. Thank you, Macmento. PB Low, thanks for following. Buffer Overflow, thanks for following. T-Nibs, thanks for following. All right, so I go over here to activity. This is my favorite spot. If you didn't know this, my first favorite spot is, we got a Twitter account. You know what else you could do if you have someone's Twitter account? You can do targeted Twitter ads. So her tweets are protected. She only has 24 followers. Most likely she doesn't tweet, and that's okay. But one of the things that you can do is when you find a recruiter or a hiring manager that has a Twitter account that actively uses Twitter, you can go over to Twitter and you can create a Twitter ad that targets only their user account. And so whenever they're on Twitter, they see an ad for you wanting to work with them with a link to your LinkedIn and a PDF or a link to a PDF of your resume, or you can turn your PDF document of your resume into PNG files. And then you can embed those PNG files into a tweet. You can also mention them in a tweet saying, I want to work for you at Taco Bell. And they would see that. All right, so I look always in the contact information. Just a heads up, whenever you connect with somebody on LinkedIn, whenever you connect with them, as soon as you connect with someone on LinkedIn and you go back to their contact information, there's potentially more there. There's a phone number, there's an email address. So Kelly is a third connection, which means first connections are people who know me. Second connections are people that know the person who knows me. And the third connections is a person who knows someone that knows someone that knows me. That's the way that LinkedIn works. Word docs get messed up with formatting. Which format is best, PDF or Word? I normally turn everything into a PDF document because it's easiest to upload. And I can show you, here's a real quick hack that you may not know. If you go back to your own profile on your own LinkedIn account, I'm going to rabbit trail for 1 second. So if you go to your own LinkedIn account, and then you go to more for your own LinkedIn account and say build resume, And you can say like, all right, create from profile. And I'm gonna say you can create you can actively change your whole LinkedIn profile for a specific job. And I can say content strat. Oh, okay. There we go. So it creates and then I can preview this, and it turns my entire LinkedIn profile into an overall resume. And then from there, you can always do the more download as PDF. Okay. So if you didn't know you could do that, you can do that. Alrighty. So we got Kelly Schmidt over here. And here we go. This is one of my favorite things. I love this so much about LinkedIn. As you go down here to Kelly's activity, I'm just going to right click here, open to a new tab. And we're going to look at all the things that Kelly likes to do on LinkedIn. And the very first thing that we're looking for is the time on the most recent thing that Kelly liked, commented on, or shared. You're looking at the time. So this was 23 hours ago. What that means is since 23 hours ago and right now, Kelly liked this. And the reason why that matters to you is that if you wanted to use LinkedIn as a platform to contact somebody, then you want to see if they're actually using LinkedIn. And so if I was to come here and the time on this was 3 months ago, then you would know that since 3 months ago and today, Kelly liked it. So between now and 3 months ago. If you go down to the next post, and the next post is 4 months ago, then you would know between now and 4 months ago, Kelly liked it. So there's a good chance that Kelly's no longer using LinkedIn or just doesn't use it on a regular basis. Hopefully that makes sense. So what we got over here is Kelly's activity is going to be a treasure trove for job hunters. A treasure trove for job hunters. Because when I get here, I'm going to take a look at all the things that she likes, comments on, and shares, and it's going to introduce me to other people at the company, also to other, what I like to call magical job fairies. Anyone that works in talent acquisition, HR, or recruiting, I call it magical job fairies because their entire sole purpose in life is to fill positions. And what we're looking for specifically at this time is the magical job fairy responsible for this job right here. Who's the magical job fairy responsible for this job? And how can I introduce myself to that person specifically at that company as a human being applying at the website? So I go here and I see that we have Joe Park, which is a vice president of innovation at Yum Brands. Like if at some point I wanted to work in innovation at Yum Brands, then maybe I want to talk to Joe Park. And you know what's really cool about this? Is that when Yum Brands is at the bottom of your list, you're like, I can contact anybody I want to. I can contact the senior VP of innovation if I want to. I can contact the senior manager of talent acquisition if I want to. Because if all of a sudden they go back and they're like, how rude of you to reach out and contact me about wanting to work here and fill in one of our job positions. How dare you? You're like, it's cool. All right. I'm just going to move on to Walmart now. Thank you so much. Whew. Okay. But you know what? That doesn't happen. That thing that you fear doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. All right, so we got Kelly Schmidt over here. She's the American Red Cross. The other thing that happens too is that when you start scrolling through someone's activity feed, you may come across, we have the financial controller analyst at Yum Brands. You're like, hello, it's very nice to meet you. We get down here to Gabrielle, is a technical talent partner at Aprius. If you lived in Kentucky in the Louisville area and you were looking for a job here, all of a sudden you're like, well, what is Aprius? Like, what is this? Like, let me learn a little bit more about this company. Let me learn more about who Gabrielle is. And so what happens at this point is you might go, you know what? Let me take a look at Aprius. Oh, it's a healthcare company. Oh, it's a data analytics company? Knowledge for good with actionable information. It's an information security company. Like, this might be, if you were in Louisville, Kentucky, and you were looking for jobs in Louisville and you were doing this because you want to work at Yum Brands, but all of a sudden you're like, what is Apris? Well, if Apris ends up being a place you want to work, you're like, you know what? Let me add it. And it's now below Taco Bell because you're like, I didn't even know it existed. But maybe after you research the company, you're like, yeah, let's put it up there. Like, that seems pretty cool. There's a creepiness factor that seems to be less of an issue on the other side of the pond. Macmento, it is not creepy. None of this is creepy. I haven't crossed any creepy lines at this point. I'm doing OSINT, Open Source Intelligence Gathering. I haven't even started reaching out yet, and I haven't, but I'm about to. And I'm going to show you what it looks like here in the next few minutes. Is there a good place to gauge my skills and prepare for an interview, like a mocking interview? All right, Manny, this is going to sound weird. It's going to sound weird. But this stuff right here is your practice. Taco Bell, Yum Brands, if they were to call you in for an interview, that's your practice interview. Now, I know you're like, is there other places I can practice interviews? And I think other people are doing that on the internet. I feel like I'm not the only person here helping people job hunt. I'm not the only one on the internet doing this. There's other people that are out there, and they're doing things on how to interview better or how to interview well. I think there's even like a Udemy class on how to do interviewing. Kip Boyle, I think, is doing something on that. So if you go to Kip Boyle or Kip Boyle does a podcast, this guy. So if you learn more about him, he might be doing something on interviewing. But this is practice. The bottom of your list is practice. Because when Yum Brands calls you in to talk about this information security job over here, and you talk to them on the phone, the reason why I want you to talk to them first, because you don't, but Manny, I know you put Yum Brands first, like you put Taco Bell first, so for you it's a little different. But if this was at the bottom of your list and they call you in for an interview, you're still gonna be a little like heart's racing a little bit, I don't know what to say, things like that. But if it doesn't go well, you're like, whew, thank goodness it was at the bottom of my list. I wish I would have done that better, but now I'm more prepared for my next one. Can you imagine what it would be like if Tesla called you in for an interview, if they were at the top of your list and it was the very first time you interviewed? You'd be like, oh, God, I'm going to mess this up. So hopefully you're seeing this, Manny, that the things that I'm doing right now are part of the practice that we're talking about. Wildebeest, welcome back. All right, we're taking a look at what Kelly likes. Now, sometimes if I click over here on the post, Kelly might have posted a specific job. There we go. There we go. All right, across the pond. I'm hiring in Europe. Come be a part of a great organization with a fun, rewarding culture. It is the global security manager for EMEA. So I just clicked on her post. It's something that she shared, and you just found in your own neck of the woods, Macmento, you just found in your own neck of the woods, Sandra Avery is an information security leader. If you scroll down here, she is the global director of risk management with Yum Brands. And one of the things that you could do is if you, Macmento, right here, you could click on this post specifically, go to Sandra's, go down here to her activity feed. So I go to Sandra's activity feed here. And then click on post, because I want to see her post. And then let's see if we can find that job post. PepsiCo is hiring. That's nice. Security integration lead in Plano, Texas. Cool. We go down here to, there's a new job. She's just offering jobs left and right. And here we go, 2 months ago. There is no comments on this job, so you could be the first. And so Macmento, you could say, hello, Sandra. I'm wondering if you have been able to fill this position yet. I just stumbled upon it today. Thank you. You can send that message. Hi, Sandra. Hello, Sandra. I'm wondering if you were able to fill this position. I just stumbled upon it today. Now, here's what could happen in response to this. Sandra says, hey, just want to let you know we did fill the position. Thank you so much for inquiring. Or, no, we haven't filled the position yet. We're still interviewing people for it. And you're like, that's fantastic. Thanks so much for letting me know. If she comes back and says it's been filled, then you can say, well, Sandra, is it possible that you have any other positions that I might be a good fit for? Are you currently hiring for anything else? And Sandra might be like, oh, yeah, here's the website to go to, and check this out. And you're like, oh, cool. So this is literally the person that you would want to potentially work with. Like, she's the person you're going to work with. Now, how did we just find that? So what I did is I found Kelly Schmidt's activity. I went to Kelly Schmidt's activity, right? Looked at see all activity. And then I clicked on post because I wanted to see what post Kelly has created. That introduced me to Sandra, and that introduced me to this global security management position. I might scroll through here and see some other ones that she's been a part of. Director of International Tax, Tax Business Analyst. It also lets me get like a feel for maybe what she does the hiring for. And at this point I go, let's move on to someone else. So I'm going to move on to someone else at Yum Brands, which I've already reached out to Sandra here in that post. I commented on here. I could hit post if I wanted to. Now, what I could do is look at Sandra's, all her activity. And it looks like she works in information security, so it's possible that she might introduce me to other people that work in information security. So a global security industry leader at Cybel, and they're hiring for an open position for a senior cyber intelligence analyst 2 days ago. There's a spot for people seeking mentors. Nice. Oh yeah, okay. McMento, are you applying there now? I hope so. I just interviewed with Deloitte, and while my interview went well, the way I presented myself did not, and therefore I did not get the position. Wildebeest? It's okay. I'm reading through the chat right now, real quick. All right. I tend to get offers to practice trainers, but not the ones I want. Quick breach, yeah, and hopefully that will change. What about commenting if we would like to change job but already employed? Would like the employer but don't know I'm hunting. Yeah, so Maurizio, I'm gonna call you Maurizio. If you are employed, and I was employed at Sands when John asked me to come work with him, and so there's that I was also employed when I went to go work at Sands. I'm a service provider. I provide a service to a company. Like I said earlier, I provide a service to a company. So when I worked for Diamond Comics, I no longer wanted to provide my service at that company, and I wanted to provide it at Sands. And so I interviewed at Sands. And when I got the position at Sands, I then gave my 2 weeks notice at the company I was working for, and then I went to work at Sands. When I was working at Sands, I really enjoyed providing a service at Sands, but at some point someone offered me a better offer, and when I took it, I then put in my 2 weeks notice at Sands. Now, John knows that at some point I may choose to leave Black Hills Information Security. He knows that I'm providing a service at Black Hills Information Security, and if I at some point choose to provide that service someplace else, he understands that. He even understands that I do job hunt on a regular basis. But he also knows that I'm happy where I'm at. And so him as the employer and me as the employee, we work together to create a good work environment. So that way he wants to work with me and I want to work with him. So when someone says, I'm currently employed, do I start looking, or I'm employed and I don't want my employer knowing I'm looking, I feel like every employer should know you're looking. Every employer should know you're looking. Every employer should know that you're looking, and that you're always looking even when you work for an employer. Is there loyalty? Absolutely. I have loyalty to Black Hills Information Security. A company would have to make me an incredible offer for me to leave. An incredible offer. Because what John and I have created is fantastic. So, no, your employer should not know. Now, there is if an employer knows that you're looking, they will stop giving you opportunities, or they'll give you more opportunities. So that sucks. Like, there are times where you go to an employer and say, hey, I found another job, and that employer's like, hey, don't leave. We're going to offer you like this, and we're going to offer you this, and we're going to offer you this. Quick breach, I think you've had experiences where an employer will show you the door, or they fire you outright. That's true. That's if they don't value you. If they value the service that you provide, they may want to counter offer. And so, quick breach, I agree with you in certain circumstances that if they feel that you're expendable, they feel like they can quickly replace you, then they will. But if you get to a point in your career where you're not quickly replaceable or you're not expendable, then they will say, hey, can we help create a better environment that would help keep you here? Like, would you like a retention bonus? Would you like a counteroffer? Would you like, so that you don't want to leave? And so there are times like, yeah, if you're an expendable person, or if they don't see your value and you say, hey, I'm looking somewhere else, they're like, might as well fire you right now. And you're like, well, this is why I was looking. The fact that you want to fire me right now because I'm looking at something else is the reason I'm looking for something else. You guys suck, and I don't want to be here anymore. I have told every boss I have ever had that I interview often. I tell them it helps me to understand that what is going on and what other companies are doing. It also helps me keep track of what my worth is. Red Dwarf? Fantastic. Red Dwarf. Agreed. So we have found Sandra Avery. I'm going to keep this one. So I like this Sandra Avery person. So I'm going to take a look at this. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to put down here on my list. I need to freeze this. I always forget how to freeze something. Freeze row 1. There we go. All right, so I go over here to the person. I know her LinkedIn. I'm going to go back over here to my point of contact as one of these tabs. Got it first try. Never happens. I go back over here. I'm going to say point of contact is, and what is her job title? And it's information security leader. And I go back over here and I put this here. And the reason why I reached out, I would go back and say what this is. I'm going to put that message in. And that I reached out on 1/29 because that is today's date. All right, so what are we doing next? I'm going to reach out to Sandra. Her messages are locked, but I'm pretty sure if you wanted to do a search, you could find Sandra's messages. Email. Or if you wanted to, you could pay whatever the cost is for you to send a premium in-mail. So you can send a premium in-mail, which is a message that will be delivered just like a regular message. And so if you pay to get a premium account and then you can send in-mails, you can do it this way. Some countries don't allow in-mails because it's considered spam. It's not an email that you signed up for. So maybe in your country it's going to be a little bit different. But whenever I run into a locked message like this, then what I do is I switch over to what I showed you already. If I see a locked message and there's no way for me to contact that person, then I will go and see if there's a post like the one that we've already found. And I will look to see if there's something I can comment on like the one that I found. So here's like, hello, Sandra. I was wondering if this position is still filled. Now, if she responds back, then I would then go in with the, hey, I also applied for this other job, this information security job over here. Now, you're thinking to yourself, like, why would you apply for a global security job and an information security analyst job? I'm just giving you a for instance on what you could do if you wanted to reach out to her. You can send a note with a connect request for free. That's true, Kobe Pear. The one thing about connection request is my rule of thumb for a connection request is this. I do not send a connection request. I do not send a connection request to somebody that I do not plan to do business with long term. So if I'm looking for a job place at a place, I may not send a connection request for that job. Now, if I find a recruiter, I'll connect with a recruiter because a recruiter could be a long-term relationship when it comes to LinkedIn. Like you're a recruiter now and I don't have anything that applies, but maybe 6 years down the road. So it's someone I want to connect with on a long-term basis. If I just want to see their post, I will follow them. So if I just want to see their post, I'll follow them. And then if I see a post that I like, then I'll comment on that post. And so it's different than actually being connected with somebody. It's up to you what you think is what's applicable. But like my mentor says, yeah, following is more proper. And depending on etiquette, what you want to do. Now, I say all that, but I also said it's at the bottom of your list. So at this point, it's up to you what you think is proper at that point. Okay? Murder Death Kill says, I have 2 different ones for mechanic jobs. I can get a job interview in 2 days because I keep in contact with my headhunters. Fantastic. Yeah, keeping in contact with headhunters is a worthwhile endeavor. All right, so we have Sandra over here, and we can say that we reached out in a message, left comment on a job post. All right, so I'm just leaving a note to myself. I left a message on a comment on a post, and I did this on 129. Now, this is step 5. So step 1 was to find a job that you wanted to apply for. Step 2 is create a tailored resume based on that job description. Step 3 is to apply at the company's website and then LinkedIn and other places. Step 4 is to find an internal advocate at that organization. And step 5 is to manage your follow-ups. And what that means is that you come into this spreadsheet, keep track of every single person you come in contact with. So if we were going to meet someone else at Taco Bell, then we would go down here and add this second person that we met at Taco Bell. You can even, if you wanted to, create a new tab down here for Taco Bell only. And I could say this is all for Taco Bell jobs. Taco Bell Yum Brands. So that way I could keep track of all the people that I contacted and all the things that we talked about here. Or you can just keep it on a master list right here of all the people that you've come in contact with. Now, my rule of thumb is that whenever I reach out to someone on one day, then I will then go and 7 days later, so I'm going to go over here to my sum, just a real basic sum. I'm going to say this date, and then over here I'm just going to say +7. And it's going to tell me on 2/5. So if I get to February 5th and I have not heard back from Sandra Avery about that post that I left on her, that comment I left on her post, then I would say nothing. I'd say the outcome of that was nothing. Nothing happened. But if she then commented on mine, I'd say commented back, then sent a message or sent an email. Sent an email. So what is the outcome? Well, if she commented back, then I sent an email. All right. So, well, that kind of starts my clock again. Like, so if I got here, like, all right. But I do one more. So I go over here to sum, and then I hit +21. +21. So if I commented back and I sent an email, that's what happened. She commented back. I sent an email because she said to follow up. And then if I make it all the way to February 26th and I haven't heard back from her, then it would be like nothing happened. And I would send one more final message saying, hey, Sandra, I sent you a message back on, let's say, 2/4. And, I hadn't heard back yet. I just wanted to see if I get to the top of your inbox. I'm not sure if my message got through last time. But if it did, I'd love to set up a phone call with you for 10 to 15 minutes to talk about the position and introduce myself a little bit better. And if you don't hear anything back from that, you're like, nothing. And at that point, it's over. It's done. Like, your connection with Sandra is gone. Like, it's done. There's nothing there. But if in that meantime, you got an email back, you're like, oh, cool. And then you responded back again. But if you make it again to 2/26 and you haven't heard back or something, then you send one more message and you're like, now what happened? So the reason why I have this whole follow-up thing here is because what I learned about job hunters, even myself, back a long time ago when I was job hunting, and also for you and other people. I've been doing this live stream for almost a year now. We got 1,460 people that have followed this account. It's now been seen by 9,222 different views. So I've been doing this for like 10 months. And what I've learned is that sometimes job hunters will send one message, one email, they just send in a resume, and then that's it. They just move on. Like, I didn't hear anything back. They don't find internal advocates, or if they do find an internal advocate, they reach out one time, and then they were probably nervous enough sending one message. Like, oh God, I'm gonna sound like an asshole right now. I'm gonna send this message, and they're gonna hate me, and I'm gonna send this message. And they sent it, and they're like, oh, and I didn't hear back. I knew it. I'm a jerk. But it's not. You're not a jerk. What I recommend is that you just follow up. If it's been 7 days, you haven't heard back, send a follow-up message. Hey, I'm not sure if this is the best way to reach out to you. If it is or isn't, if it is, I would love to have that 10 to 15-minute phone call at a time where you're available. If it is not the best way to reach you, do you have a better way that you would prefer? If you're not the right person to contact, could you point me in the right direction? Like, that's your first follow-up message. And if you make it all the way here and you haven't heard back from them again, then your last message is, hey, just want to get to the top of your inbox one more time. Not sure if my messages are making it through or not. I know we're all real busy at this time of year, and so if you're unavailable, totally get it. But if you do have time for a 10 to 15-minute phone call, I would love to set up one with you when you're available. And really, the reason I harp on this, and the reason why I bring this up often, is because I did have a viewer on this live stream who said, Jason, I reached out to 50 people. And I only heard back from one of them. I was like, wow, okay, so you had a 2% success rate. Okay. So if you worked in marketing, like I work in marketing. I have an email list that I email people with. I've built this email list up. It's a part of my work. I have an email list that I send email people to, and I let them know things. Does anyone want to guess what my success rate is on my email? Does anyone want to take a guess at what the percentage is for the people who actually click on the link and do the thing that I asked them to? If anyone wants to take a guess, just go ahead and put it in the Twitch chat right now. Murder, Death, Kill said 15%. Tiger Phoenix Dragon said less than 1%. Sakura Carl said 1%. 85%. Quick break. Less than 2%, 1%, 50%, 5%, 3%, 90%. All right, so here we go. My success rate for my email list is 3.33%. My success rate on my email list is 3.33%. That's when I send an email list out. When I send an email out and people respond doing the thing that I asked them to do, it is 3.33%. And that's fantastic. That's awesome. 3.33%. Fantastic. That's great. So whenever job hunters are like, I sent out 50 emails and I only got back one, they're like, 2%? That's great. Look at you, 2%. That's not bad. So for those of you that are like, I sent out all these messages, I contacted all these people and no one wrote me back, you're like, I get it. That's my day. That's my day every day. Every day. I have another email list, the Wild West Hack and Fest list I helped build last year. It has a success rate of, I think it's like 12% right now, which is like, I'm killing it. Woo! I think it's just because it's a new list and all the people in there are really responsive, engaged, and so that's good. But as it grows and as it gets older over time, I'm pretty sure that number will drop down. And as it gets bigger, the number drops down. So, yeah, that's 3%, 3.33%. So, with that said, job hunters, not every message you send is going to result in a person doing the thing that you've asked them to do. And the reason why I want you to manage your follow-ups is because it's not the first email that I send that normally engages somebody. Maybe it's the second one. Maybe it's the third. Maybe it's the fourth. Maybe it's the 14th time they've gotten an email from me. And they're like, I'm available. It's a topic I'm interested in, and I'm finally going to check it out. Because normally I only send webcast emails. We don't send emails about products and services. We may put like a little blurb at the bottom of the Black Hills email, but we only send emails about things that we feel are useful to people, which is why we have a 3.33% ratings, because we are like, this is really useful and we think it's beneficial, so that's why we're going to send it. All right, any questions? I've gone through all the steps. I'm going to review it for you. I'm going to review it for you right now. And my wife is heating up some tea to the side, and she's got this big grin on her face. And she's like, you can hear that? Yes, I can hear that. Jacqueline always joins us on Tuesday nights from 7 to 9 p.m., normally just for an hour. It's sad whenever she goes. And so she joins us on Tuesday nights. I do this from 7 to 9 p.m. every Tuesday night, unless I'm on vacation, and every Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And for the next couple weeks, we're going to focus on one aspect of the job hunt. I mean, we covered all 5 today, but I really wanted to deep dive on finding the job. So in my last interactivity, do you, as someone who listened to this live stream today, did it make sense? Did it make sense that you first create a list of what you want from a job? Did that make sense, that you make a list of what you want from a job? Does it make sense that you put it in the list of priority and say, this is what I'm looking for, and these are my non-negotiables, and these are my negotiables? And so once you have this list of what you're looking for, then build a list out of where you want to work. And so these are the companies that you all said you wanted to work at. We put them in the list of order of importance. And then once you put in order of importance, and if you need help finding companies to work for, then you can do searches for what companies are thriving in the pandemic. And what other companies are in my state. So maybe it's a list of companies in Illinois. And so once you build out the list of where you want to work, then you put it in the list of priority there as well. And you start at the bottom. And the reason why you start at the bottom is because now it's going to help you practice and practice and practice and practice. Because the human mind, the way we work, is the more we care about something, the more we're afraid of it. The more we're afraid of messing it up. And so when you start at the bottom of your list, it's your list. I mean, the number 5th on your list is still number 5th on your list. The 20th on your list is still the 20th on your list. It's not a list that someone gave you. And so when you start working from the bottom of your list and you work your way up, what's going to happen is it's going to get scarier, but you'll get more comfortable. It will be scarier, but you'll be more comfortable job hunting. Because all the skills that you're about to pick up by doing a job hunt for Yum Brands, where you're like, yeah, I don't care. I'll send an email to the CEO if I want to. I will comment on that person's post because, I mean, what if I do get a job offer when it's on the 20th of my list? What if it is a really good job offer? And what if all of a sudden you're like, darn, it does meet all my requirements. You know what? Maybe you take the job. And you take the job, but over the next couple of years, you continue to build relationships with the companies you want to work for more than the company you wanted to work for. And so a few years from now, you're working at Ubisoft. And a few years after that, you're working at McKinsey. And a few years after that, you're working at FireEye. Or maybe you don't get a job offer until you get up to here. Or maybe you don't get a job offer till you get to here. Or maybe you don't get a job offer till you get to here. What if you don't get a job offer for any of the companies that you wanted? Let's talk about that for 1 second as we wrap up. What if you go through this whole process? You apply, you create tailored resumes, you meet people, you introduce yourself, you manage your follow-ups, you've introduced yourself to over 100 people, and you still end up without the job. Here's what I hope happens. That along the way, when you were researching Rapid7, you found 6 or 7 other companies you didn't know existed. Along the way, you found ATT&CK and a couple other companies you didn't know existed, and Accenture you found in other companies. And down here, underneath Taco Bell, you got like another 60 companies that you listed here. And then you start at the bottom, and you work your way up again. And you just keep working your way up. And what if you get to McKinsey and you already applied for them 9 months ago? Well, over the last 9 months, you got a home lab. Or over the last 9 months, you've developed new skills. Over the last 9 months, you got the A+ certification. Over the last 9 months, you have built up your own skills. And now when you apply at Kinsey 9 months later, they're like, yeah, let's bring you in. And you're like, cool, let's bring me in. And let's go over my list while we're having this conversation. Not in a rude way. Not in a way that's like arrogant or cocky, but in a way that says, I'm about to provide my service to your organization in exchange for your money. And I want to make sure that this is the right fit for us. So with my final words today, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. This is a recorded session. Hopefully I hit the right button. I guess I'll see when this live stream's over. If not, I'm going to have to gonna have to do it again. And that's fine. But with my final words today, I just want to say this. Thanks so much for being here. Like, thanks for just choosing to spend the last 2 hours with me, learning something else about job hunting that you may not have known. I humbly appreciate your time and your effort. I am excited that we got to ring the bell today for 4 people, 4 new viewers that have landed jobs. And I can't wait to tell my wife. And when we started this back in March of last year, we didn't know if it would help. We just wanted to do what we could during the pandemic. And so my request from you is this. If any of this was helpful for you today and you start applying it and it helps you, please pass it on to somebody else. I don't care if you talk about me at all. It's not about me. It's about you and your friends and your family finding the jobs that you want. And from that point, using that to bless others. And with that, I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.